You're listening to Trek FM.
Welcome to From There to Here, Trek FM's 50th anniversary rewatch project, where the hosts of the network, who are actually holograms, discuss for you all 729 episodes of the Star Trek franchise. And with me today is Masaka himself. How's it going, Masaka Schindler?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm very frightened of you right now.
Well, most people are.
We are going to be talking about Shadowplay from Deep Space Nine Season 2 and Masks from The Next Generation. You want to give us a summary of Shadowplay? You were telling me yesterday just how much you love this episode.
Yeah, you know Paradise that we watched yesterday? Just like take out the, humans who don't want to use technology and put in like holograms, and it's that. I mean, it pretty much is the same exact plot, But, okay, so Odo and Dax go down to a planet, and there's something weird which is happening. People from the planet are disappearing, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then they do.
Okay, so there's one thing in this episode that bothers me. I'm sure there's lots that bothers you. So when that cop dude is like talking to Odo, Odo beams away, and this cop guy's surprised. He's like, where did he go? What happened? What's going on? And Dax is like, he'll be right back. So then Odo comes back, and once the cop guy tells him what's going on, Odo asks him if the cop guy has scanned for any transporter activity, and the cop guy's like, that's the first thing we did.
I didn't notice that. Oh, this show is ruined for me. You know how a couple days ago I was saying there were no bad episodes of Deep Space Nine? It's all based on a foundation of lies. This show is terrible. Let's just skip it and move on to Voyager. Come on.
Whoa. We get the first little bit about teaching Ensign Jake Sisko in this episode, though, too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, this episode is weird. It's not bad at all. But it's weird how similar it is to the episode that we just saw the week before, It's like they go down to a planet. There's a bunch of, villagers or whatever. These villagers, unbeknownst to them, are being held here against their will because of a piece of technology, right? And there's one person who's the leader who knows what the reality is, and they're not telling their villagers, because if they tell them, that will destroy the society which they've created.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, sure, there are similarities between lots and lots of episodes of Star Trek, for sure. But did this not cross their mind at any point when they were doing like the same exact episode 2 weeks in a row? I mean, sure, they're not the same exact episode, but they're really, really close. That's so weird to me. It's so weird. I don't know.
Yes, but this episode has Bareil in it.
It does. He's cool.
I like Bareil.
Yeah. I was here spoilers for later on in the series, and I can never not look at Bareil in a different way because of this. But I was at a convention about a week before the episode in which they kill Bareil. Mm-hmm. And Terry Farrell was up on stage, and she's like, "Oh my God, we all hated Bareil so much. We were so glad when he died." And everyone's like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "Oh, well, that's never mind."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
so, I didn't mind Bareil.
No, he's cool.
So,
yeah.
One thing that's neat in here, okay, so when O'Brien is talking with Jake, and he says to Jake that my dad wanted me to be a cello player.
Yeah.
Right? We call back, and I made this because I did the From There to Here on the episode Evolution with Zach Moore, and the first part of that episode, Data walks in and he starts playing instruments with them, and O'Brien is there playing a cello.
Oh, he is?
In Evolution.
Oh.
Yes, I thought that was amazing because I called it out. I'm doing this rewatch, and I'm like, what is O'Brien doing playing with a cello? And then he says it here that he was supposed to be a cello player, so I think that's awesome.
See, they're playing the long game, you know? They got the continuity going all the way back to season 3 of Next Gen, but they can't remember what they said 5 minutes earlier in a scene.
Sometimes,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But we do get our second mention of the Dominion in this episode, which is neat because we're getting the building. So the first one was with the Ferengi and those red-faced, with the black and the dots and stuff.
Yeah.
Rules of Acquisition was the episode. But this is the second time we hear the Dominion, so we're starting to get that build of what could possibly be coming down the road.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's not the best episode. I definitely think that Whispers is better.
Yes, I would agree that Whispers is better, but I think that this is a decent episode, all things considered. It's a cool Odo episode, for sure. You get to see him turn into a top. That's cool, too. They get to fix some holograms by, rebooting their holographic emitter or whatever it is, and it's cool. It's cool.
Right on. Well, should we move on to the next one?
Sure. Masks.
Yes. So they come across a comet and the Enterprise D, and some weird things happen and things change on the ship inexplicably, and we have sun gods and we have antlers and weirdness.
Yeah. Joe Manoski going to town, It's just announced that Joe Manoski is a writer on the new Star Trek show, so one can only hope that we get a sequel to Masks. But really, I mean, this is sort of like his trademark in a lot of ways, like these super duper high concept stories, and you gotta admire that they go for it, regardless of the results. It's like, I don't know. Back when I first saw this, as a kid, I was like, this is clearly one of, if not the worst episodes of Next Generation. And there are a lot of people who still think that, I mean, if you go over to commentarytrackstars.com, you can find a commentary, which is a drinking game, which we set up for Shar from To the Journey and Matt Hansen from the Nerd Party, because, their philosophy is the only way they can get through this episode is with heavy drinking. And I think a lot of fans sort of believe that, but, the more that I watch it, I'm not going to go so far as to say that it's good, because it's not. But I am very impressed with the concept, with the idea that they tried to do something completely outside of the box, to the point of almost doing something which is incomprehensible. But I mean, it's an interesting idea, and you got to give them credit for having the guts to try it. Because while this didn't work, if they tried something this crazy on a weekly basis, you'd be bound to get some masterpieces out of this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I like this episode just fine. I really enjoy this episode. I don't know. A lot of people don't like Brent Spiner's acting in it. I think it's neat. I think it's he does a good job of all these different personalities in his body, right? The old man,
yeah,
and whatnot. I don't know. I like this episode. I think it's just fine, and I don't know. I'm weird though with my Star Trek. I like just about everything Star Trek, but I think it is a neat concept where they're trying to involve this neat little. I don't know. I think of the Mayans all the time, right? Like these weird sun gods and Mayan type ruins and whatnot that the ship is turning into. It doesn't make a lot of sense that the ship would, everything in 10 forward would turn into plants and stuff, but that's okay. It's science fiction, and I've got a level of disbelief that I'm willing to circumnavigate to enjoy an episode of Star Trek. But I think it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of neat shots in this. We don't see the ship dark very often, and when they're walking up to 10 forward, it's almost like pitch black, right? So it's something. It's a unique perspective that we see the Enterprise in, right? I mean, I like it. I like it just fine. I mean, yeah, it's weird, it's strange, but I don't have any issues with the episode.
Yeah, I admire it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So, one thing that is strange about this episode is when Deanna and Crusher like walk into Deanna's quarters and they're like, "So, do you have a secret admirer? Is that who gave you this thing?" And she's like, "I don't know. Let's go work out." It's like nobody's concerned the possibility that somebody broke into her quarters.
Yeah, when I think of like strange things in this episode, the first thing that comes to mind is
not that.
No, but that is definitely something that came to mind, but then again, I live in Chicago, so, I have a feeling like the Enterprise is more like Canada in that sense, where they probably don't lock their doors and everything.
I lock my doors.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever. It's like you pretty much know everyone, I mean, we know that the concept for Starfleet based on, the city on the edge of forever is that there are no bad people in Starfleet. There are no bad humans, period, right? So if someone is coming into her quarters to give her a gift, it's probably as innocent as that, And that sounds weird to us, in the 21st century, but I think on the 24th century, on the Enterprise, it's not unusual for stuff like that to happen. I mean, we see in Sub Rosa, there's the thing where... Crusher's getting it on with her ghost boyfriend, and Picard comes in, and she's like, oh, Picard, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just assumed that I could walk in, because, I mean, why wouldn't I, right? And he's completely oblivious to what's going on. That was hilarious, by the way. But
it's because Picard has no libido.
Yeah, I mean, but here, I guess there's a similar thing to that going on. I don't know if that was their intention or if they were just trying to, like do like a shorthand kind of thing. But regardless, yeah.
This episode, though, we definitely get to see what floats Picard's boat in this episode. The way that he reacts when he's looking at these artifacts and stuff and how excited he gets. I love watching Picard when he's handling these things. He's like, oh, look at this thing here. And, oh, look at this thing in this submissive mode on the back of this thing. And da-da-da-da-da. Like, he's totally into his artifacts. And
then when they're like, you've got to wear this mask and pretend to be, this other god thing. I mean,
he's like, okay.
You know what it reminded me of, honestly?
Eyes Wide Shut?
No, it reminded me of a Star Trek fan at a convention who's about to cosplay,
It totally reminded me of Eyes Wide Shut. We're getting all these erotic references here.
Yeah. But there are, yes, definitely masks like that in Eyes Wide Shut. It's too bad that they didn't incorporate. If I was making Eyes Wide Shut, I totally would have pulled out at least one of those two masks for that scene in that movie, which is a masterpiece, by the way. If anyone's looking for a really, really weird movie that's also a masterpiece, check out Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut's really good.
Maybe Kubrick's best.
What?
It's just one of those things.
Oh, man. My favorite Kubrick movie is The Killing. I love The Killing so much. It's like the first movie to do the non-chronological storytelling.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's good. I'm okay with masks. I got no issue with it. I think it's cool.
I have issues with it, but I think that it's an interesting experiment nonetheless.
It's better than Shades of Grey.
Maybe, yeah. I'd say it's better than Shades. I'd say that it's more, its existence is more relevant than Shades of Grey's.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sounds good. Excellent. Right on. Well, where can people find you on the network there, Mike?
You can find me on Stage 9, where we talk about the people who make Star Trek. And you can also find me on Twitter at Mumbles3K.
Excellent. Can you say, and where can people find you, Brandon?
Oh, sure, if you want. Where can people find you, Brandon?
I am not Brandon. I am Ehot.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but is that your Twitter handle or something?
I don't know. It's one of the things that Data says. He's like, I'm not Data, I'm Ehot.
All right.
Anyways, whatever. Cool. That didn't work. My jokes are falling asleep.
I told you that those things don't work with me. I have no idea what anyone's talking about, ever.
You can find me here on the network with new episodes of Melodic Treks, which is all about the music of Star Trek. And you can find me with many episodes of From There to Here, as well as a couple recent episodes of The Ready Room. So join us again tomorrow as two new hosts take you on a journey of wonder and mystery.